Hey, what's up guys? In Moby again, and I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how to convert the dynamic symmetry found from your photo onto your canvas. And I'm going to show you how to draw it onto the canvas and then punch some numbers so you can figure out the ratios and things like that. But I'm going to be filming with these awesome Durango sunglasses with the camera right here, so you guys can get a point of view perspective. So let's get into it. Alright, so here I have my canvas 16 by 12, and I wanted to show you, I've got these grids here that I just created. I'm going to put it onto my camera and I'll show you from there. I got this removable double-sided tape. I used that in the tracing paper video that I just did. Tape it onto the back of my grid here. I'm going to reuse these. They're pretty durable, and I can put it onto my camera LCD onto my phone, and then if I'm done with it I can just put it on the back like that and then just use my phone. That way I can have it whenever I want. So the micro four thirds grid I'm going to be using, and it's the same exact size as most cameras on the phones these days. So I'm just lining it up to the outer edge, and then I'm just going to apply this pressure here. So now I've got the grid on there, and as you see, the touchscreen still works. The micro four thirds grids, we'll get into all these grid ratios later pretty soon after this, but the micro four thirds grid ratio is 1.333. So that comes in handy with this canvas size, because 16 by 12, the ratio of that is 1.333. The dynamic symmetry I need to use for this canvas to take advantage of the unity, movement, and rhythm is the micro four thirds dynamic symmetry grid. So I'll show you if we can see this. I'm going to line up the photo with the canvas just to show you that these lines line up exactly. So what that means is I can go on site. I'm here in Hawaii. I'm in the parking lot of a nice little beach park. What you can do with these grids is you take photos with your camera or your phone, reference photos if you're a painter. You line up things with the grid or have your model pose to the grid and take your photo, and then you can transfer it onto your canvas here. So it's a smooth transition from reference photo to maybe your computer to further design it, and then to the canvas. So everything lines up exactly. Alright, so I've already got these lines drawn, but I'm going to show you how you can do that and what I did to get these lines on there. We've got our rectangle 11 by 14, so let's start by doing the diagonals. And we're just going to run them from corner to corner. It's really easy. So that one's the sinister diagonal. It runs from lower right to upper left. And the Baroque diagonal runs from lower left to upper right. The Baroque diagonal is supposed to be the more pleasing one because most of us read left to right. So we can read the painting left to right. Also, most paintings with perspective are read from bottom to top, so that's why the Baroque diagonal is more pleasing. So I've got these terms here just to give you a reminder, and I'm gonna have this scanned and I'm gonna have it available for anybody that wants to download it for free off my site. So we've got the Baroque and the sinister diagonal. Now we have to do the reciprocals, and we have 4 reciprocals, and the reciprocals intersect each diagonal at 90 degrees, and it runs from each corner, so that's why there's 4 of them. So I've got these cheat marks up here. I got calculations down here to find the reciprocals without using a triangle or t-square. So that's why I've got these marks, but that'll be in another video, and if you want to watch that you can. But otherwise I would use a t-square or a triangle to get the 90-degree angles. So I'm going to run this from the corner and up to, I'm passing over the halfway mark and just double checking that this intersects the diagonal at 90 degrees. So I'm going to draw a line there. So just double checking that this intersects this diagonal at 90 degrees, and it does. That's why there's a piece of paper over this one, because I made a mistake, so I had to redo it. I didn't cross over the halfway mark. I'm going to run one from the corner up here to the other side and make sure that I intersect at 90 degrees. this major diagonal. And that does. And one more. So if you get lost with all the lines, just look at your corners. 2 lines, 2 lines, 2 lines, 1 line. So this is the one I have to do next. And it's going to run up to the other side, and it's intersecting this sinister diagonal at 90 degrees. Okay, so that's done. That was easy. Now we've got eyes, and I'll write this down here. Eyes are intersection points, so anywhere there's an intersection or even on the edge, you can generate another line. So if we do this eye and this eye, we can draw a vertical line straight through that to help us with the composition. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you the major area divisions right here. I call it MAD. All it has to do with is just making the mother rectangle with the basic armature inside, and I'm going to make 4 smaller ones inside that. So we'll have a total of 4, and this would be good to do like more detailed work for larger canvases or things like that. Bouguereau, I'll pop a image up on the screen. It's The Birth of Venus, and Bouguereau did this, and he created major area divisions to help him compose the smaller elements of his painting. Alright, so let's just go from the halfway mark, and I've got cheat marks on there too. I'm just dropping a line in the center vertically and horizontally, and that's got my 4 rectangles. Okay, and then I'm just going to go around and do the diagonals. Okay, all the diagonals are done for the rectangles, the smaller rectangles. And now we're going to run 2 lines from each of these corners. So this one's got 2, so that reciprocal is already done. See, it's right here. So we'll just go from each corner and make sure that we're doing 90-degree angles as we intersect the major diagonal. Okay, so there's our finished armature with the major area divisions. It's easy to get lost in the lines, so just make sure you look at the corners. If you have 2 lines running from each corner, then that means you've got it finished. That's your armature. Okay, so let me just simplify this and give you an idea of what the mother rectangle looks like. And I'm gonna just draw a darker line around the mother. Okay, so that's the mother root rectangle, and these are the major area divisions, the smaller ones inside. So now let's cover the ratios real quick, just so you get an idea of what the ratios are for. And I know all the canvas sizes out there, most of them don't relate to these ratios. But if we crunch the numbers of the canvas size that you want, we can use the root rectangle that's closest to it. So I'll give you an idea, the 14 by 11, or 11 by 14, you just divide the larger number into the smaller number. So let me get my calculator. Okay, so if we take 14 divided by 11, we'll get our ratio. That's 1.272, and that's exactly like the root phi, which we already covered. Now if we take a 24 by 36 canvas and divide the larger number into the smaller one, 36 divided by 24, we get 1.5. So we'll use the 1.5 grid. And if we take 24 by 24, that's an easy one, we get 1. So we'll use the square grid. And cinematographers out there, you can use root rectangles to compose your cinema. If you're using the 21 by 9 aspect ratio, we just divide 21 by 9 and we get 2.33. So the closest root rectangle to that would be root 5. So you can use the root 5 to compose your frame. And if you're using the 16 by 9 aspect ratio, you can just take 16 divided by 9. We get 1.77. And the closest one to that is a root 3, very close to that. So we can take the grid and we can place it on our camera LCD, and we can use that to compose our shot. And that'll get us really close to the dynamic symmetry within that 21 by 9 frame ratio. In some cases you might find a canvas size that doesn't exactly fit your root rectangles, which is fine. They don't make these root rectangle sizes in canvas sizes, so you got to do the best you can. But in some cases you'll get, say, like an 8 by 10. If this is an 8 by 10 and we take our calculator, we take 10 divided by 8 is 1.25. So the closest one is a root phi, and the root phi is a little bigger than an 8x10. So if we line up our grid in there, we're gonna have a little bit left over, depending on how you line it up. A little bit left over, or you can extend it past, depending on how you line it up. I would do it with the full root rectangle inside the canvas, and then just leave a little bit of negative space or hints, like a bush that lines up to the edge of that, and maybe a tree that lines up to the edge, just to solidify your root rectangle. The other way you could do it is just to create the dynamic symmetry like you did here in the 8x10, but it won't be a true root rectangle, which I would prefer to go with the root rectangles. Okay, so that's the grid part. That's really easy to draw the lines like you saw. We covered how to match up the different ratios to your canvas size, covered all the terms, and now let me show you how gamut and coincidence work to create unity, movement, and rhythm. So your gamut is, remember, repeating diagonals of your dynamic symmetry, and it's a limited number of directions. So if you look at your armature here, you've got two diagonals, two major diagonals, and basically two reciprocals that have the same diagonal. So that's a very limited number of diagonals, and you can generate more through the eyes of the lines if you want, just by matching up the eyes and then drawing a line down, or generating one from this eye and through an intersection, or creating a diagonal to the corner. Okay, so gamut, if we incorporate rhythm and unity, say we have a tree here, it's echoing our major diagonal or our reciprocal, and then something like that. And then say we have a person here that's jumping in the air, we're just repeating this diagonal right here in the body and the arms. So say it's a person jumping, and my drawing skills have seen better days, but I'm trying to improve them. So this is someone jumping, and we're repeating these diagonals, and this is our tree, and we're repeating that diagonal, and then we're repeating it up there. Okay, so you can see this shape starting to create rhythm across the image. That's gamut, and we're just using one diagonal right there too. We can even try to incorporate this other diagonal, this one. And you go through your painting or drawing, and you refine the diagonals as you work through it. Now we've got that one, this one in the body. Probably we could get further, and one in the face, and we could just keep working it into the background if we wanted to. So coincidences are edge-to-edge relationships that create unity and movement also. And what we do is, this one won't have diagonals, but I'm just gonna show you how we can create unity with the foreground and background just by creating a coincidence. So say this guy's standing here. He's got a striped shirt, and we're taking pictures of him. How do we unify him with the background? Say he's looking at the ocean. Well, we can line up the horizon line with his shirt, and that's an edge-to-edge relationship. Now they're both unified. If you want to make it even more symmetrical, you could have a cloud above his head. That's a coincidence. Creates a movement, and this creates a movement across his body. Now let's put this on. So it's very symmetrical, but we're using unity and movement by using coincidences. So that's it for today. I'm gonna go ahead and do this, but it's gonna be on another video, so I don't have to confuse you guys from this original armature, the basic armature. Okay, so stay tuned, subscribe please, like, and that'll let me know that you guys want to see more of this stuff. So take care.